Traffic stop last week ended with Nebraska state troopers discovering skimming devices.
Yeah, those are attached to gas pumps and store payment devices, aiming to steal your credit card information. Our Mike McKnight tells us that crooks are stealing food off the table of some victims as First Alert 6 investigates.
The Nolans rely on an electronic benefits transfer card to pay for groceries. But when Linda sent her husband Rick to a nearby store, he discovered scammers using a skimmer had bagged their food stamp money.
There was like 204 on there on Sunday morning. And I went to use it. There was only like $3 left. I had to put everything away. It was kind of embarrassing.
The skimmer found and removed from an Omaha store auto check register, but the stolen food stamp money won't be replaced.
Unfortunately, the federal government stopped funding replacement of those benefits in December. So at this time, there isn't any funds available to replace those benefits.
Still, the Nolans filed a police report and notified State Health and Human Services of the skimmer fraud.
But they would keep my information, and if they ever get any funds, that I could possibly get reimbursed. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
But like breathing, the couple has to eat. After discovering their EBT card had been almost completely drained, the Nolans were able to restock that month by going to a local pantry. But that wasn't easy because neither one of them can drive. They're disabled. Nebraska DHHS tells First Alert 6 that in 3 months there have been 85 reports of food stamp money drained from EBT card accounts by skimmers. So benefit recipients should be careful.
First and most important is to change their PIN number often because that's part of the data that's being stolen by the skimmers.
The Nolans have taken that advice to heart.
I'm also going to change my PIN regularly, like the food stamp office said to do,
so they can come back from the store with groceries and not red faces. Near 40th and Hamilton in Omaha, Mike McKnight, First Alert 6.
A First Alert investigation last year found almost 450 food stamp clients reported their benefits skimmed. But those victims could be reimbursed, while this year those federal funds are not available.